Hi all, so we're going to start looking at the human defence system. I want to do a little voiceover on this just to kind of help iron out any issues you might have. It looks like a very daunting topic at first, but there's a lot of terminology, a lot of definitions, but there's a lot of similarities in it, and some of it is kind of common sense. It's just putting the correct terminology on it. So just be really careful. There's a lot of terms that are very, very similar. So just be really careful in your use of definitions and terminology, and you should be fine with it. All right. So we're going to start off here looking at what your immune system is. So your defense system is your immune system, and what immunity is, or your immune system is the ability to not get sick, the ability to resist infection or prevent disease. So on a day-to-day basis, you're exposed to loads of illnesses. There's not a day that you don't come into contact with hundreds of different disease-causing bacteria, fungi, and viruses. And the reason you don't get sick is because you have an immunity. And obviously, you hear a lot in the news about people at the minute having to cocoon, who are immunocompromised. So that means people who may be due to an illness or due to treatment for an illness. Essentially, they have a weaker immune system, so they have less ability to fight off these infections, and that's why obviously they have to be extra careful with the coronavirus at present. So a pathogen is any disease, any organism that can cause disease. That, as a general rule, we're talking about your microorganisms, so your bacteria, your fungi, and your viruses. We'll mostly be talking about bacteria and viruses, but fungi come in and are targeted in the same way. All right, so your immune system is broken down into two main parts. Your general defense system really targets everything. It stops bacteria and viruses from getting into your system in the first place. And even if they do, it kind of cleans up them quite generally. Your specific one is more for the more complex infections, and we're going to be talking about things like vaccination, where it specifically targets a specific bacteria or a specific virus in a particular way. So we're going to look first of all at the general defense system today, and just some of the components of that, okay? So your general defense system is more of a barrier to stop them getting in, the pathogens getting in the first place, okay? There's two parts to it. The first line of it is the physical, to stop them physically getting into the body. So that's covering your skin, which is the main one, your mucous membranes then in your respiratory, so your breathing, your digestive systems, your urinary systems, and your reproductive tracts. Essentially any hole in the body that enables bacteria to get in, they have to have protection to stop them, and that's why they all produce a mucus. Most of that mucus, it's sticky, so therefore it's going to stop bacteria and viruses getting in. And the other reason is they contain an enzyme called lysozyme, which kills a lot of bacteria. So I'm going to show you this diagram here. The following two slides kind of go through this in detail. You don't need to go and learn this off or anything like that, but it just covers your first line of defense, which really you're talking about the skin, which physically stops anything from entering. As you know, if you cut yourself, you have to clean that wound, and your body plugs it using blood clots. So it's not just to stop the blood getting out, so your platelets and your clotting proteins, it's also to stop bacteria getting in. So picking scabs and things like that is dangerous because you can allow then access to infection. Other things, so your mucous membranes in your nose, in your respiratory tract, in your saliva, in your intestine, in your urinary tract, they all contain this enzyme lysozyme, which is really important you know about this one. So it's essentially a general enzyme that can break down the cell walls and bacteria, and so therefore kill them. Other ones, bacteria in your large intestine, they're good bacteria, we want them, but they actually help fight off any bad bacteria to get in there if they manage to get through the stomach acid, which essentially does kill the vast majority of microbes, okay? The other one that we're going to focus in on is your blood system, okay, because obviously that's what you think of when you think of immune system. So in that, we're going to look for the general defense system, okay? The blood comes more in your specific, but in general defense system, you have a type of white blood cell called phagocytes. You have a thing called complement and interferon. I'm not going to worry about too much, but we're going to look at both of those in detail in terms of how they work to fight infection. So the next two slides go through that. Here and here, so you can read through those and know a few examples, just be able to explain how they actually work. So that's your first line of the general defense system. The second line really is going into your blood, which is essentially, as I mentioned already, if they pass that first line of defense, if they manage to get in through the body, then you have three things that kick into play. You have a specific type of white blood cell called a phagocyte. We're going to look at those, but essentially they're a type of white blood cell that just eat bacteria and viruses to digest them, stop them from growing. Defense proteins, which is your complement, and then inflammation. So we're going to look at how a fever or how getting a swelling in a cut, maybe for example, how that actually benefits you. Okay, so there's numerous different types of white blood cells in your body. The main one that we're going to look at is phagocytes and macrophage. And basically, if you look at your blood, less than 1% of your blood at any given time is white blood cells. They only increase in numbers if you get an infection. So if they've passed through that first line of defense and they start to grow in numbers inside the body, then you're going to see your white blood cells increase. And that happens in your lymph nodes and in your spleen. Okay. When cells are damaged by invading pathogens such as a bacteria or a virus, they release chemicals that attract these white blood cells, your phagocytes and macrophage, to that area so that they know to target the pathogen to kill them. Okay, so these cells elongate their pseudopodia to surround the invading pathogens and digest them. Now, pseudopodia, you might not remember, but you came across that term when we did the protista chapter, your little amoeba. So it's basically where the cell membrane grows outwards like little arms. It grows around the invading pathogens. So say, for instance, bacteria. It traps them, essentially eating them. And when they're inside in the phagocyte, which is the type of white blood cell, they get digested. So they're like little scavengers, essentially. They just go around the body in the blood, and anytime they encounter a pathogen, whether it's a bacteria or a virus in the body, anything that shouldn't be there, anything that's not your own cells, they will just eat it, digest it, and that obviously stops you getting infected. Okay. If you want to look up this little link here, it's just a tiny little link. It just shows an animated version of this, so it's not very detailed or anything, but just to go through a basic explanation of that for you. Your defense proteins then. Your defense proteins are made up of two things. The two I mentioned already, complement and interferons. Interferons specifically work on viruses. You don't really need to know too much about how they work. If you just know that they specifically prevent viruses from replicating and increasing in number. Your complement is a bit more important. Complement is essentially a group term used for about 20 different proteins that are found in your blood. Okay, so in the liquid part, the plasma of your blood, and these proteins are activated by infection to destroy pathogens. So essentially, if you have an infection, whether it's bacteria, say for example, your body switches on the complement system, and these proteins essentially are attracted to this foreign substance in the body. So they stick into the cell membrane of the bacteria or the virus, and it's like a pin in a balloon. It causes them to burst. Okay, so by getting them into the cell membrane and cell wall of the bacteria, it actually causes them to burst. So they're very important because they work against all bacteria and a number of viruses. So they're really, really beneficial to keep them from getting in and reproducing in numbers in your body. Okay. In terms of inflammation, then the last one we're going to look at when you're sick. One of the first things you get often is a fever, and a fever is where your body temperature goes up. If you have an infection, that's if it's around your whole body, you get the fever. If you have it in a localized area, you're generally talking about swelling and redness. And again, you might feel that quite warm and hot, and that's where it's inflamed or swollen. You might say swollen. What that does is it's where when body cells are infected, they release a chemical that actually causes the blood capillaries, so the tiny little blood vessels, to become more permeable, and it brings more blood to that area. By bringing more blood to that area, it's actually bringing more white blood cells specifically. So it helps target the infection to that specific area. If it's throughout the body, so say for instance you have some sort of illness like the flu or something like that, where the virus has infected your whole body, the reason for increasing the body temperature, so the virus or bacteria that's infected you obviously works best at human body temperature, 37 degrees. So if you get a fever and that fever brings your body up to say 38, 39 degrees, that causes the enzymes in those bacteria to denature. So that benefits it because it stops them from reproducing, it stops them from replicating, and it gives your white blood cells a chance to get on top of it and kill them before they reproduce at a really fast rate. Okay, so It's also dangerous for us, obviously, if our body's at that very, very high temperature, because our own enzymes denature. So we do have to keep that at bay. But the whole purpose of your body doing it is to try and cause the bacteria and virus enzymes to denature and stop working. Okay. Yeah. So from there, that's your general defense system. Okay, so that targets everything. That targets anything that comes into your body, stops it from getting in, first line. If it gets in, the second line usually will clean it up and stop it from making you sick. If, however, it manages to get past all that, only then will your specific defense system kick in. Okay, and your specific defense system will only work against specific pathogens. So say, for instance, you get chickenpox. You'll only get chickenpox once, because once you've gotten it once, your body remembers it and it knows exactly what antibodies to produce to fight it. Okay. If you've been exposed to an infection before, as a general rule, you won't get it again, because your body remembers it. It has memory cells and it produces a chemical called antibodies. Now, do not mix antibodies up with antibiotics. We'll talk about that later on. Antibodies are chemicals your white blood cells make specifically against an infection. So you'll have one type of antibody produced against, say, chickenpox. You'll have a different type of antibody produced against mumps. You'll have a different one again against measles, and so on. And that's why vaccines work, because vaccines are essentially helping your body to produce antibodies, to know which antibodies to produce when you're infected, and therefore if you've been infected or if you've been vaccinated, your body will produce those antibodies in order to much more quickly if you've already been exposed, so you're not going to get sick the next time. So one part of the specific defense system is a type of white blood cell, which we're going to look at producing antibodies. The other one is the destruction of infected body cells. So a lot of viruses actually get inside your own body cells and infect them. In that case, you have a different type of white blood cell that kicks in to actually kill those cells. And if it kills the cells that are infected, it means that the bacteria or virus can't reproduce. So there's different types of cells involved in both of these actions, and we're going to look at that as part of your specific defense system. Okay. Your lymphocytes and monocytes are one type. Okay. All of these fall under the heading of white blood cells. All right. But it just depends on where they're made and where they mature in the body, what they're called, and obviously what job they do. Now, you can tell by looking at a white blood cell what type of cell it is. So lymphocytes, if you look at them, their nucleus takes up the entire space in there's very little cytoplasm. So under a microscope, you can tell straight away, and you need to be able to identify this for the Leaving Cert, that a lymphocyte is a lymphocyte, because the nucleus takes up that entire space. If you look at the monocyte, it has a smaller nucleus, still quite large for a cell, but the nucleus is a kidney shape. Okay, it's the same shape as a kidney. So again, only monocytes will have that shape of a nucleus, and you need to be able to identify that from looking at them under a microscope. Okay. So all of your white blood cells, as you know at this stage, they're produced in the bone marrow, okay? But where they mature has a big part in what they actually do. So they move to your blood vessels, and then they get carried into your spleen and your lymphatic system. Your lymph nodes store them, and they help filter out pathogens. So most of the time they're not floating around the body, they're actually in your lymph nodes waiting to be produced. And then when your body needs them, it sends signals to the lymph nodes, and then they get matured and they get released from there to do their job. Okay, so some of the organs involved in that specific process we're going to look at now. Sorry, skip back up. So your lymphatic system is tied intrinsically. It's part of your defense system, your immune system. Okay, so part of this is also tying in with your endocrine system. So you have your thymus gland. Your thymus gland produces, if you remember, it's behind your breastbone. It produces thymosin, which is to do with sleep patterns, but it also produces other hormones which help with the maturing of white blood cells, which sends to the lymph nodes. The white blood cells themselves are stored in your lymph nodes, and if you remember, your lymph nodes are primarily located around your armpits, around the groin area, and around your neck. One specific example in your neck is your tonsils, which you're all familiar with, and they're all there. So the reason your tonsils swell, or your glands, as you call them, swell when you're sick, is because they're producing excess amounts of white blood cells as a result of your thymus gland switching them on to do so. Okay, so we're going to leave it at that for today, and I will do further recording for next week. So I just want you to know that much for this week. Okay.